No American airport ranks inside the worldwide top 20. Not one. The country that invented powered flight, the country that operates the world's largest aviation market, the country with more airports than any other nation on Earth cannot produce a single facility good enough to crack the global top 20. Changi in Singapore, Hamad in Doha, Incheon in Seoul, Zurich, Tokyo Haneda, Munich, they all make the list. America doesn't. And if you've watched any airport video on this channel, you know exactly why. JFK is a fragmented 1955 design mistake that $19 billion still can't fix. Newark is a United Airlines monopoly so dependent on one carrier that when 20% of its controllers walked off the job, the whole system collapsed. LaGuardia spent $8 billion and still can't connect its own terminals. American airports are, with almost no exceptions, a study in what happens when you combine monopoly airlines, political dysfunction, and infrastructure neglect and let it compound for 70 years. Almost no exceptions. Because in the Pacific Northwest, something completely different just happened. A city spent $2 billion, built the largest mass timber structure in the world, kept the airport running 500 flights a day throughout the entire construction, and produced something that by every objective measure is one of the most beautiful airport terminals on the planet. This is the story of Portland PDX and why the way they built it is the most important lesson in American aviation that nobody in this industry wants to learn. Before Portland makes sense, you need to understand how broken the baseline is. PDX has been voted America's best airport by Travel Plus Leisure magazine for 7 consecutive years. 7 years in a row, the same airport by the same publication, which tells you two things simultaneously. PDX is genuinely excellent, and the competition for that title is genuinely weak. The structural reason American airports are bad is the same structural reason American aviation is complicated across the board. Airports here are owned by local governments, cities, and port authorities, but the terminals inside them are mostly built, operated, and controlled by the airlines themselves. Delta built Terminal 4 at JFK. American built Terminal 8. JetBlue built Terminal 5. Each airline designs its terminal for itself, not for the passenger connecting between airlines, not for the unified passenger experience, for their own operational needs, their own brand, their own commercial logic. The result, as we've covered in depth on this channel, is 9 disconnected buildings at JFK that $19 billion cannot connect. Portland did something different. The Port of Portland, the city authority that runs PDX, controls the entire terminal, not the airlines, not private consortiums competing for concession revenue, the port. One entity, one vision, one decision-making structure. That single structural difference is the reason Portland could do what no other major American airport has managed to do in modern history. It could build something coherent. The old PDX terminal was built in 1956. By the time the renovation was planned, it had spread across 11 separate buildings, each constructed under different structural and seismic codes, each requiring different maintenance protocols, each making it progressively harder to expand, adapt, or connect the space as passenger volumes grew. The $2.15 billion PDX Next expansion program is the largest public works project in Oregon's history. It comprises 5 separate construction projects, a $950 million terminal core redevelopment, a $215 million Concourse E expansion, $282 million in parking and rental car facilities, a $100 million Concourse B redevelopment, and a $67 million quick turnaround facility. The centerpiece, the piece that makes PDX genuinely extraordinary, is the new main terminal roof. The complete remodel of the terminal core includes the installation of a new 9-acre large-span mass timber roofing system over the entire terminal core complex. 9 acres of wood. sourced from sustainable forests within 300 miles of the airport, designed by ZGF Architects, a firm that has been Portland's primary architectural partner since 1965. Designed to evoke the feeling that one gets while walking through the woods, the overall experience of the new main terminal, from the moment passengers walk through the doors through all the key points in the journey to their departure gate, ultimately transcends functionality and creates a sense of wonder inherent to the natural beauty of the state of Oregon. That's architectural language. In practical terms, you walk into this terminal and instead of the standard airport ceiling of fluorescent strips and cable management, you see a forest canopy made of Douglas fir with 49 skylights flooding natural light across 5,000 live plants suspended from above, black walnut trees, ficus, olive trees growing inside an airport. The contrast to JFK, where you exit security and navigate to a gate through a corridor that hasn't changed since 1988, is not subtle. It is a different civilization's approach to the same problem. Here is the part of the Portland story that never gets the attention it deserves. All construction is being phased to maintain continuous 24/7 operations and uninterrupted service. Every day throughout the entire 4-year construction period, the 50,000 passengers who travel through the airport each day kept moving, flights kept departing, baggage kept moving, security kept processing. The roof, the 9-acre wooden centerpiece, could not be built in place above an active terminal, so it was built on a section of airfield away from the active runways. Then it was moved. The roof was prefabricated into 3 massive sections. Each section weighed between 270,000 and 635,000 kilograms. The largest stretched more than 40 by 60 meters. Then, at approximately 1 mile per hour, each section was driven across an operating taxiway at night. 3 nights per section. 1 night to reach starting position, 1 night to travel halfway, 1 night to reach the terminal. And here is the detail that adds genuine engineering drama to the story. Portland sits in Oregon's most seismically active region. Scientists project a 37% chance of a major earthquake in the next 50 years. The roof needed to be earthquake resilient, designed to move as one structure during seismic events without collapsing onto the people beneath it. The solution: friction pendulum isolators at every column junction, base isolation systems calculated to allow up to 56 centimeters of movement in any direction during an earthquake. Where the roof meets solid walls and glass panels, every junction pivots independently. The entire 9-acre wooden canopy can shift, absorb, and return without the structure failing. The 49 skylights and 36-foot-high glass walls allow ample daylight even on cloudy days, reducing the terminal's energy use. Beauty and engineering in the same structure, while 500 flights operated around it.
PDX is not immune to airline dominance. Alaska Airlines controls the majority of traffic at Portland. Their primary Pacific Northwest hub operation runs directly through this airport. The renovation required Alaska's cooperation, Alaska's gate coordination, Alaska's operational flexibility throughout 4 years of active construction. Our deep collaboration and joint investment with the Port of Portland on its new world-class terminal highlights our focus on improving how our guests travel, said Shane Jones, Senior Vice President at Alaska Airlines. This one by far stands out for how it combines breathtaking design elements, a signature Oregon feel, and modern technology and efficiency. That quote matters because it tells you something the airline business doesn't always demonstrate: that when an airline and a port authority share a common interest in the passenger experience rather than fighting over gate allocations and terminal ownership, you can build something extraordinary. The structural reason JFK cannot have a coherent experience is that Delta, American, JetBlue, and international carriers all own their own separate fiefdoms and have no incentive to coordinate. The structural reason PDX could produce a coherent experience is that the port owns the terminal, and the dominant airline chose to collaborate rather than compete for control. That's not a design lesson, that's a governance lesson. Upon completion, the terminal infrastructure redevelopment will improve the airport's passenger handling capacity to 34 million, making the airport 50% more energy efficient. Here is the full picture. America spends more money on airport renovation than almost any country on Earth. JFK, $19 billion. LAX, $30 billion. LaGuardia, $8 billion. Newark, billions more in deferred maintenance and crisis management. The total investment is staggering, and no American airport ranks in the global top 20. Portland spent $2.15 billion, built the largest mass timber structure in the world, kept 500 daily flights running throughout, installed seismic isolation engineering sophisticated enough to survive a major Pacific Northwest earthquake, filled the terminal with 5,000 live plants, locally sourced wood, local art, local restaurants charging street prices. Portland is obsessed with its airport. Passengers carry bags emblazoned with its carpet pattern and pop over for drinks even when they don't have a flight. Think about that for a moment. People go to this airport when they don't have to, not because it's convenient, because they want to be there. JFK is spending $19 billion. When it's done, passengers connecting between terminals will still pay $9.25 to ride a train between buildings, because 5 different private operators control 5 different terminal buildings, and nobody has the authority or the will to change the fundamental structure. Portland had one entity in control, one vision, one set of decisions. The result is the most beautiful airport terminal in America, built for a fraction of what New York is spending to not fix its most fundamental problem. The lesson Portland taught the American aviation industry is simple. The quality of what you build has almost nothing to do with how much you spend. It has everything to do with who makes the decisions and whether those people are accountable to passengers or to shareholders. Fast Company recognized the PDX Terminal Core redevelopment with the 2025 Best Design North America Award, noting the airport expansion features sustainably sourced wood roofing, transforming the terminal experience into something that feels more like a walk in a forest. A walk in a forest at an airport in America. It took 70 years, but someone finally figured out how to do it right.